I recently played through Resident Evil 8. I really enjoyed my time with it, and if not for the Mercenaries SS Plus achievement, I probably would have platinumed it already. What it utterly lacks in story, it makes up for in gameplay and with bosses that have actual personalities. Lady D, Donna, and Heisenberg are really memorable bosses that leave an impression on you with both their dialogue and their boss fights. What really bothered me about Village was my absolute apathy for Mother Miranda and the insurmountably moronic way they wrote Chris. Mother Miranda is boring, and Chris keeps making so many horrible decisions for no reason. All of this should have clued me into the future of the franchise, but Capcom had their ultimate card still in deck when they released Resident Evil 4 Remake and utterly perfected quite literally everything in that game. The gameplay loop is immaculate, the story delivers meaningful and fun characters along with tugging on your heartstrings with sincerity and passion. They uplifted every single character from the original and made them compelling. And I was wholeheartedly on the bandwagon for this new, more mature story that they were telling with Leon Kennedy. So much so that this game put Leon on my favorite characters of all time list. So it's not a surprise that I would be incredibly excited for Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I am not a person who gets hyped for something very easily. Through bitter experiences, I've learned to temper my expectations. I don't watch trailers or buy into the hype for anything. I just see or hear the brief summary of whatever I want to consume, and then I decide whether I should go for it or not. Doesn't matter if it's a game, movie, show, or anime. But RE9 slowly came to be an exception because the last time I bought into the hype for a game, it turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time. That game being Resident Evil 4 Remake. Everywhere that I could see without spoiling myself, RE9 was being praised. The Steam reviews were either overwhelmingly or mostly positive, and one of my favorite YouTubers, I Am Rob, had RE9 as his favorite Resident Evil game, even above 4 Remake. So I fell victim to my monkey brain and awaited RE9 with a quiet passion, completely aware of the fact that my RTX 3050 laptop has no way to run this game at a graphical fidelity that I find acceptable. So I did something I've never done before. I asked my cousin, who has a much more powerful laptop than mine, if I can play RE9 on his system, and he agreed. I had expected to be elated when I reached the end of this game, and my god, I could not fathom how wrong I would end up being. Full spoilers for Resident Evil 2, 4 and 9. Just a side note, I call Xeno Gino this entire video because, well, I wrote the script and recorded it like really late at night. I was sleep deprived, so I'm sorry, but yeah, you will just have to put up with it. You might be wondering why I'm using footage from RE4 on this video about RE9. That's because I didn't want OBS to tank the performance of my game during my first playthrough because I wanted to experience the game in at least its high settings. So in my zeal, I thought that this game is probably gonna absolutely slap. So I will do my initial playthrough without recording, and then I'll record my second playthrough, which I would either do on a harder difficulty on New Game Plus or just New Game Plus in general. But after experiencing this story, all chances of me doing a second playthrough anytime soon were just beaten to death. Ugh, I regret my excitement so much. You'll hear the depth of my disappointment in a bit. The villains in this game are incredibly stupid and shallow. Gino is a knockoff Timu Wesker who does the equivalent of jack shit throughout the entire game. Not only is he a boring imitation, he also actively sabotages his own plans by leaving Leon alive, even though he has every chance to kill him. Gino has no point to prove to Leon, nor is he personally connected to him in any way whatsoever. And if anyone is gonna say that that is the point, Gino is an arrogant, pompous ass who doesn't think that anyone can stop him. But the problem with that is that he needs to back up his arrogance with actual feats or reasons, and he has neither. There is nothing interesting about this asshat. He has no depth and he has no aura. Bro has absolutely nothing going for him. This problem was non-existent in the Resident Evil 4 remake. I'll give you several examples. The first time Mendes leaves you alive is because he has injected you with the Plaga. The second time he sees that the Plaga has taken root and he decides to prioritize Ada because to his knowledge she hasn't been infected with the Plaga. The final time that we see him, he fully intends to kill Leon as he has caused way too many problems. In Salazar's case, bro has a superiority complex. He fully expects that this castle full of booby traps and his miscreants will be enough to get the job done. And when that isn't enough, he throws Leon down a well and sends Verdugo to check and eliminate Leon if he's alive. Pisanta is busy chasing down Ada, so that isn't a plot hole either. And another thing is that Salazar also knows that Leon is infected, so it's only a matter of time before he becomes a pawn in their game. Sadler leaves Leon alive after Ashley jams the gun because he sees just how much control he has over Leon. It's only a matter of hours until his infection is complete, and Sadler will have another powerful pawn to use against the world. But I digress. Gino has a tyrant as a pawn. So why doesn't he sick the tyrant on Leon earlier, because he knows that Leon is coming for them? He even taunts him with a note. So why not send the tyrant to delay or even potentially eliminate Leon as he is trying to bust down the gate? Once again, Gino could have just straight up killed Leon in the police station, but he sends the tyrant to do the job. For being a ruthless, unrelenting killer, the tyrant is disappointingly relented. In the first and only chase sequence with the tyrant, after witnessing it punching through walls to reach Leon, he is surprisingly lost when Leon turns a corner into the main hall of the police station. This isn't a gameplay safe zone thing. This is acknowledged by the game in a cutscene where Leon says that he lost his pursuer. Bro, how? You turned a corner and the tyrant was right there. How did he lose you? Anyway, the bad ending pissed me off for a multitude of reasons. But another was that this no good 2-bit knockoff was the one to kill Leon. Really, that's how you are potentially gonna kill one of your flagship characters. Okay, Capcom. Another thing about that ending is that Leon is essentially useless at that point. An arc is collapsing onto itself. So why doesn't Gino just escape? Use that enhanced strength of yours and live another day to spread bioterrorism, but no. This guy with no personal connection to Leon stays back and slowly beats him up like he's enjoying it or something. Like, bro, this 50-year-old man with mutated T-virus ravaged organs is definitely gonna die while he's standing on a collapsing platform in a facility rigged to explode. The good ending isn't much better for Gino either, because he gets killed off by Gideon in the most unceremonious way possible after he loses his powers because he accidentally cured himself. Wow, what a character. Victor Gideon is more interesting than Gino, but still bland. In the first hour of the game, he has some menacing moments, but they too fall apart on just the slightest amount of critical thinking. Gideon wants to capture Grace because she is the linchpin of their plans. They firmly believe that only she can unleash Elpis. So, does somebody want to tell me why he infects the officer that could very well have killed the only hope they have of achieving their goals? With how clumsy and anxiety-ridden Grace is, she has a non-zero chance of just breaking her neck as she runs up the stairs. And then after capturing your only hope, you strap her upside down as you drain her blood. What the fuck? Bro, the human body cannot take being suspended upside down for long because your brain gets congested real quick, your lungs are being crushed under the weight of your abdominal organs, and your heart is under excessive strain. Why are these morons hell-bent on foiling their own plans by constantly putting Grace in mortal danger? Plus, the area that he cages Grace in is stalked by the girl, which, granted, may be unbeknownst to Gideon, but with the amount of security cameras he has, I doubt it. The stupidity doesn't end there, mind you. To establish Gideon as a legit threat, he is shown to be physically stronger than Leon, as he overpowers him and knocks him out. But instead of killing him, he decides to interrogate him for whatever reason, and that too without stripping him of all his gear. And when Leon breaks out of his bonds, he overpowers Gideon and forces him to run away. He is such a nobody to me that fighting him just isn't satisfying. Another thing that I want to add is that both Gino and Gideon are so goddamn incompetent that they didn't search the Renwood Hotel, because it would have been piss easy to get their hands on Alyssa's diary and the disk that revealed the password to Elpis. Nah, they'd rather twiddle their thumbs and pretend to be more smart and menacing than they could ever be. Now, let's talk about Elpis and Spencer. Look, I'm not well versed in the Resident Evil lore. I've only played the 2 and 4 remakes, Resi 7, 8, and a little bit of 5 and 6, and now 9. So I'm gonna talk about these things with what the game presented to us and what I know from other games. Do correct me if I'm missing something or getting the details wrong. So, Spencer, the big bad evil guy that started everything, that led to countless casualties of innocent people, suddenly he starts feeling remorseful and develops an ultimate antiviral to cure all progenitor based viruses. And he hides it in a way that nobody could find it in 30 years. And also, he locked it behind a password that if you get it wrong even once, the entire facility is reduced to cinders. Quite an interesting way to look for penance for the horrors you've inflicted upon the world. And not to forget, he also adopts an orphan girl and raises her as his own with love and care, apparently. And this is somehow supposed to be his attempt at redemption. Bro, I would respect you more had you still remained evil, cause at least that would have flaunted your conviction or something. This piss poor attempt at redemption has me question the very foundation of your intelligence, cause buddy, what the fuck were you thinking by making the antiviral this hard to find and this easy to accidentally destroy? The more I think about this game, I can feel the aneurysm forming, begging to put me out of my misery. Now, let's talk about my boy Leon. They did my boy dirty, cause not only is his character arc in this game poorly written, a part of it is a rehash of his arc in Resi 4 Remake, and that too was done significantly better there. The moments that should evoke the desired reactions out of me just leave me in a disbelief and questioning my sanity. And then we have moments of pure ignorance and stupidity. Small moments like Leon spotting Gideon carrying a body but not pursuing him immediately is among the greatest brain-dead moments of all time. My boy was just standing there watching that ashy asshole kidnap someone and infecting so many innocents. Leon just standing around while he can clearly see a zombie walk up to an innocent nurse and poke her in the belly with a damn chainsaw. There are probably more moments like this in the game, but I am too done with it to go back and check. Neither his death or his triumph evoked any feelings from inside me except for apathy and something more complex. The difference between Leon from the start of the game and Leon from the end of the game is as simple as being cured of the Raccoon City survivor syndrome. This game was so hell-bent on giving us an undeserved fairy tale ending that it overlooked the incredibly obvious reasoning for reviving Emily. That being, she is most definitely not dead considering we have seen the regenerative capacity of her twin. The only way to kill her was with light. Instead, the game opts to retroactively make Leon an idiot by him saying that he didn't hit her vitals. Brother, what do you mean? The controls were in my hands. I shot the shit out of her vitals. And let's just pretend that sure he didn't hit her vitals then. Why did she go down so quick? These mutated goo creatures have never had the tendency of being easy to put down. Why is she an exception? Also, why would Leon ever consider not hitting her vitals? Like, he did not know there was gonna be a cure. But yeah, anyway. Plus, this next point might be me nitpicking, but after the infection/transformation has crossed the threshold of the usual Resident Evil impossible mass generation and corruption of the whole body, the cures usually just end up killing the host, as in the case for Jack Baker. But I digress. The game has the audacity to sequel bait after delivering an absolute dog water of a story. It doesn't even give us an interaction between Leon and Chris, even after stating that he has a message for him. This ending also feels cheap to me because it being the end of Umbrella doesn't mean much because the connections have been retroactively forced into the story as the bigger big bad. So we just traded one company for another, making Leon's conclusion quite meaningless in the grand scheme of things, I think. To me, fan service can only be implemented without issue if the story is good or better and the fan service is used sparingly. Otherwise, it just feels cheap. This game knocks it out of the park with how it violates both those principles. Not only is the story shit, the game constantly holds fan service as a way to lure us fans into ignoring the game's many faults. The entire bike chase, probably inspired by Vendetta, would have felt like an absolute joyride for me if other aspects didn't suck this much. Because with the situation as it is, that entire sequence was just a cheap hype injector to distract us into not thinking about how stupid all this is. I love the campy and cheesy stuff that is associated with Leon. His one-liners, the unnecessary backflips, and other ridiculous shit that he does. I love it all. And I hate this game for making me roll my eyes at it and being disappointed at things I would normally cheer for. The combat with Leon should feel like pure bliss, cause the combat in Resi 4 Remake felt like heaven woven into a game. So naturally, the combat in this game should either feel the same or even better, because this game made some amazing improvements to the combat, like the extra animations, Leon dodging behind the enemy and shooting the back of their heads with Requiem, the new kill animations when enemies get too close as you fire your gun, the new melee animations and the subsequent follow-ups. The hatchet and its finishes are just so immersive and fun to watch, but somehow with all of that, the combat felt stiffer and choppier to me. And I think it may just be me, but it's still something that I wanted to point out. So in simpler words, I prefer the gameplay loop of Resi 4 Remake over 9. Quick side note, the Requiem Magnum is definitely one of the coolest weapons of all time for me. Everything from the design, sound, damage and its name just send me into bouts of hype. But anyways, let's talk about Grace. I like Grace. She's cool and relatable. I too would be screaming and stumbling all over the place if I even went through half the stuff that she did. Although I would have put Usain Bolt to shame with how fast I would run with the threat of shitting my pants out of pure fear, while Grace is out here running at the breakneck speeds of 1.25 kilometers an hour, a penguin waddles faster than that. This was a point of pure unadulterated frustration and rage at many points during the first half of the game. Grace's character arc is a good one, though there are a few decisions that she makes that frustrates me to high heaven. For example, she wanders off after witnessing the supposed death of Emily and runs into Gideon and Gina. After hearing them spout their bullshit, she decides to join them willingly? Did she forget that these are the people responsible for countless deaths, inhumane experiments, and the unfortunate creation and destruction of people like Emily? Like, come on, Grace, use that wrinkly brain of yours. Aren't you supposed to be smart or something? Another thing was Grace just standing there with the cure in her hand as Gino and Victor have their domestic dispute, and Leon is on the ground, absolutely bodied and dying. Frustrating to say the least. Like, girl, come on. You don't know how fast this cure works, and just inject it into the dying 50-year-old Terminator. Do it before either of the other two assholes decide to kill you. It's like you don't even want to pretend that you don't have plot armor. Other than all that rage baiting the game inflicted on me, the first half of the game is genuinely really good, especially because you know nothing about the story, but I digress. Now on to a few little points that bothered me. During the opening sequence of the game, Alyssa Ashcroft shows us the survival instinct of a damn pebble on the ground. Genuinely made me wonder if she wanted to live or not. The overall movement in this game feels weird and unresponsive sometimes, both with Leon and Grace. Sometimes their feet seem to have a mind of their own. Right now, this is all I can remember that completely threw me off my rocker, and ironically, this game that preaches hope ended up mollywopping and curb stomping any hope that I have for the future of this franchise. Cause it's not like this is Capcom's first time fucking up in recent memory. They ruined RE3 Remake, made a mockery of a story in RE8, and now they have reached their ultimate bullshit form with RE9. I genuinely hope that RE10 will be the last mainline Resident Evil game, cause they are once again fucking up their story for shallow cool moments and cheap payoffs. I sincerely hope that this video ages like milk, and this franchise finds its feet again and stands tall, but I fear it may not be so. Until next we meet, bye bye.